I am absolutely delighted to be able to welcome today a very special lady, Parul Begum, international keynote speaker, award-winning life and leadership coach, best-selling author, and so much more, I don't have enough room, who has been a pioneer in women and children's rights and advocacy for over 20 years. And as I just said, to be honest, if I were to name all the amazing things and purposeful things this lady does, I would already just fill the episode with my own list. So maybe, Parul, we start with you sharing a bit about who you are and why you do what you do before we get into today's actual topic of domestic violence.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Julie, for this opportunity for me to share my story and also the topic we're going to be discussing. So, as you already introduced me, I'm a life and leadership coach, and my main aim is to help and teenagers especially to help them to boost their self-confidence so they can go about and create the life they deserve, because I have seen gender violence, gender discrimination from very young age. When I was growing up in Bangladesh, for example, finishing primary school, I lost all my girlfriends to high school because they're girl, or they were girl, they were not allowed to go high school because their parents could only afford one child education. So they choose their boys instead of girls.
Right.
Moving to the UK in teenagers, I've seen loads of forced marriages within my own community, Asian community, especially Bangladeshi, Pakistani. And school life, really, I start volunteering. Going to college, I become like weekend volunteer, helping families and mediate between girls and families so that as soon as they reach 16, the parents don't take them back home to get married them off to their cousin for economic reason and bringing the men's here. I think that was a big problem in early 90s, late 80s, early 90s when I was growing up. I've seen when there's a forced marriage, there's domestic violence comes within.
Yeah.
Men and women growing up in different countries, the different issues, different ethos, different understanding, physical, emotional, financial control as well. And I started writing in local newspaper, local community language newspaper, and I was trolled by those men who were abusing their wife, their partners, because I was speaking out. So as a teenager, I've seen it, and I start actually, involved with local authority and safeguarding board. I was one of the campaigner for forced marriage legislation.
In the
So,
UK?
yeah, in the UK. And with Baroness Scotland leading it, we brought the forced marriage legislation. So I'm really proud that I was part of the campaign group for the legislation. And we've seen, violence and especially the forced marriage gone down in Bangladeshi community. Girls were allowed to study. In 2019 figure, when I just post COVID, when I was looking at the figure, home office figure, I've seen forced marriage in Bangladeshi community went to 2%.
Yeah.
However, forced marriage Pakistani community remained 40%. Is because there is still a lot of work need to be done in Pakistani community. And work need to be done by within their community, not just professionals, but community itself.
Yes.
And I worked with a lot of Pakistani community, women especially, supporting women because they're fighting forced marriage against their daughter, and their husband tried to take their daughter to Pakistan and get them married off. And women, the wife stuck in between, just trying to support their daughter, also not leave their husband. So that's something, is still there, and I'm still supporting a lot of women. But what I say is, for me, those are the things inspire me to help women. For me, what I've realized also during COVID, when I was doing loads of work with domestic violence women, that I was doing everything from advice of childcare, finance to everything. Then I thought, you know what? One thing is lacking, and the lacking is confidence.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I just thought if I can help those women to boost their self-confidence, then they can create the life they deserve.
Right.
Because, I also work with Julie. I've worked with a woman who's been stuck in a marriage for 30 years.
Yes.
So 50 plus, your whole episode of 50 plus, yeah? Lots of women in 50s still facing domestic violence from young age to 50s. And they still with same partner because they're afraid
of
finance. And I'm going to talk about different type of domestic violence.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you've brought us beautifully. I mean, first of all, I just sort of feel overwhelmed with gratitude that there are women like you who are ready to stand up for women and girls' rights, in your own community in, London or in the UK. And you have had to face, trolling and all sorts of nastiness from obviously the men who want the system to continue. And I just admire, and I'm very grateful to have you here, your courage and your determination to stand up for what you know is right. So indeed, that brings us to the topic of today, and that's domestic violence. And indeed, we are talking about a 50+ audience. And we are talking about, if not now, when do we really own our life, shine, feel that we can be all of who we are? And I think indeed what you've touched on is extremely important. It is the confidence. We stay when we're scared. And I mean, I think, and of course, you talked about COVID, and that, of course, was a big worry of governments all over the world, that obviously having this confinement was going to have an effect on domestic violence, because there's no more checks, there's no more, why is the child not at school, or why is, the lady not at work? I mean, then it was almost like a free for all, do whatever you want, nobody can see anyway. But to bring us to the 50+, I feel like at this age, we should be able to say enough. Right? Enough is enough. And maybe if you stayed for the children, that it would be time to move on. But somehow they stay, right? They stay in this environment. So maybe we look a little bit at why, and then look at, how can we help people, step forward and say enough is enough. I deserve better.
Absolutely.
So Parul, why would you say that already, that, after so many years, maybe you stayed for the children, you feel your loyalty has to also be to your children, for those who have. And so you stay until, but, most of us in our 50s, the children are moving off, if not already gone.
Yeah. So first of all, Julie, I just wanted to bring to people attention who might not understand different types of domestic violence.
Right.
When I was growing up, I understood domestic violence was physical. But actually, as we all know, I know, it's not just physical. It's controlling, coercive, or threatening behavior. Could be psychological, physical, sexual, financial, emotional.
Right.
And, and you ask a question about why people stay even a long time. It's not just because I've got children and I have to stay in a relationship. But, that should not be the excuse. They stay in a relationship because you got children. What you teaching your child by staying in a relationship? I'll give you a great example. Someone that I've seen, they were their late 40s and they had quite a number of children. And because of domestic violence, finally they managed to go into a safe house with a teenage son, who was the youngest one in the family. And he actually pushed his mother from the in a safe house. You know why? Because as a child, he's seen his dad pushing his mom around, hitting violently, shouting, screaming. So he became one of them.
Yes, he thought that's how you behaved as a man.
Yeah, because he thought that was normal, not understanding that what he's doing is wrong. Second, he's doing to his mother. Yeah. So sometimes people who actually abuse their partner do need to understand that is affect their children as well, and that child grow up, become another abuser of their partner. And why women stay? Children could be one of them. Confidence, the biggest issue. How I'm going to survive?
Right.
I don't have money. I don't work because my husband work and I haven't got money. Where am I going to find the money? And that question I've seen, Julie, not just people in the UK, Europe, across the world. But one of the things is important then, when you have the confidence, you find the money. There is loads of help available. Government help available, whether you live in first world or third world country, there are help available.
But you have to, that's right, it's confidence, right? You have to dare believe that you deserve it, first of all, that you deserve something different. And I was also thinking, if we're talking about a 50+ audience, sorry, and domestic violence, I think, when I see it in lots of other episodes as well, we talk about the fact that people think, well, if I've put up with it so far, why rock the boat now when I'm starting to feel old, where I'm maybe, less attractive to other people, where I maybe have less energy at the idea of having to recreate a whole new life. Whereas it should be the opposite. It should be, Yes.
Yeah, I
Now
was going to
I
come into that. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you said was very, very clever as well, of course, is that it is not physical. Physical is the outside sign, but it's
Yeah.
that undermining, that the financial control, the verbal abuse, you're stupid, you don't deserve anything, or you're bad. And I think for us on the outside, right, I have never had any affairs of domestic violence. To us, it seems almost impossible to see these women, who are bashed around in whichever way, again and again and again. And sometimes at some point they manage to find the courage to go to a safe house, but then a large majority do still go back. And you're a bit like, oh, but why? Why do you do that? There is another way, but I suppose it's all they know.
Yeah, no, great. You touched on that, Julie. I think, statistically, we've seen 6 to 8 times people escape free. After 6 to 8 times, then they realize they need to break free. Right. So they keep going back. And I've worked with some women who keep going back, coming out, going back, coming out. Yeah. And, domestic violence, not just intimate partner. Some communities, like, for example, Asian people live with their in-laws.
Yes.
And we've seen in-laws become the abuser of their daughter-in-law.
Right.
So it's not just intimate partner, it could be the whole family against one woman. Right. So, but for the woman, it's really important, whether you are your 50s or your early age, understanding what domestic violence is, somebody controlling you emotionally, financially, sexually, physically. What can I do? Why I'm here? What is my life purpose? I deserve the best. I'm important.
It's exactly that. And that brings us to your thing about confidence, right? It's self-worth. It's the idea, I deserve better. I don't, this is not normal. This is not how it is. And every woman, maybe you've seen it in your family, your father abusing your mother in whichever way. And you don't have to do that. And to ask yourself, well, how do I want it to be for my daughters?
Absolutely.
When are we going to break the cycle? So that's what you do then. You help these women, those who dare come to you, to actually bolster their self-worth and their self-confidence, that they see that practically anything is better than that, right?
Absolutely, Julie. Yes, so I've developed a 7-step formula called Visible to help them to boost their self-confidence. It's a tried and tested method, because I've worked with so many people. Me personally being bullied at workplace and by extended family member, I use those methods on me. And I've
so you personally have experienced
bullied. I've
been
bullied at workplace, not once, but multiple times, for being a woman. Right. For being the youngest and for being a colored woman. Right. Living in the UK, if you work in a white, middle-aged, male-dominated environment, and they feel you controlling them because you are the manager and they are your staff. So early age of being graduated, I personally being bullied, not once, but as a, so my method, what I've developed, Julie, is based on my tried and tested method. And personally,
and firsthand, right? Because you've been through it.
And I've also been bullied by extended family members because I've chosen my husband, not them. Again, I nearly been forced into marriage, but I didn't, because I kept my word no. And that's how I survived, by distance. And they don't talk to me for 20 years, actually, because I've chosen my husband. Yeah. Not my immediate family, not my mom, not my sibling, but extended family who wanted to control. Right. Yeah. And controlling is not just men, it could be from female as well. Yes. And I talked about mother-in-law who could be very control freak because they've been controlled by their mother-in-law, so they want to control their daughter-in-law. What they don't realize, they're a woman. Women should be empowering women. Yes. Men should be empowering women. We should be all empowering each other, not controlling. Yeah.
That's so very true. And to be honest, in my corporate life, the two most difficult people I worked for were women.
Yeah. So it could be anybody, controlling. The important thing is, so that's what I do. I help women. And also I work with teenagers to boost their self-confidence. Right. And women, one of the things, Julie, you touched, your whole episode is about over 50, that's your theme. I've seen women who living with their husband or partner for a long time, but then suddenly one person get ill. Is men, have a stroke, they lose half of their understanding or get dementia. They become abusive verbally and physically, and women
Wow.
living with that. And I've seen that recently a lot. Women,
Okay.
talking to me for help. They think, oh, he's ill, so therefore I'm his wife, I should be supporting. I say, yes, supporting, but you are not their physical boxing, punching box.
Exactly. There
They
are
should be
boundaries,
boxing.
right? There are
Yeah, yeah,
boundaries.
yeah. Get help, get professional. If you can manage them home, get professional help, get respite. They could get help, until they recover. It's okay to be in a care home. It's
Yes.
okay to get professional support. Do not take their emotional and physical beating. You deserve
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Yes, you love them, but love doesn't have to be hurt.
Yes.
You
And they
know?
don't need to take from you, right?
Mm,
But they should respect you as a person as
yeah,
well. And
yeah,
sure, we understand frustration when,
yeah, yeah.
you're
No, I think
losing your capacity.
emotionally, when people are older, they feel they owe to their husband or their partner. Like, I lived all my life. Now he had a stroke, and then I have to, or he's got dementia. I have to deal with it. I'm going to take everything he gives. You love
Mm,
them is fine. You can still love them, but sometime you could be, if you become ill emotionally, physically, who's going to look after the person?
exactly.
So
And
get
as you
early
said, you
help.
love them, but what about loving yourself too?
Exactly.
The
Loving
episode which
yourself is
is
the most
coming out
important.
today is that, is how to be
Yeah,
your own best friend. And we are
yeah,
not, as women, we're
yeah,
often our worst friends.
yeah,
We're the ones who
yeah.
hold us back.
Mhm.
Right now, look, for people who are listening to this episode, if any of you are in a case of domestic violence, I would really recommend that you ask yourself the question, that you dare imagine a different scenario where you do love yourself and you do say enough. And I would certainly recommend that you get in touch with, for example, Parul, and look at her 7-step formula, Visible. But for the people listening today, Parul, I mean, I like to spark thoughts. I like, I always say that give us 3 action points we can put in now. But it's also about, owning our lives and owning our happiness and, being there for everyone. We always are. I mean, I think that's in our DNA also as women. We are
Mm,
nurturers, but that
mm,
does
mm.
not mean at our own detriment. So if we're talking, on a larger scale, so not a particular, community-based domestic violence, but just, women in general over 50 who are being abused in whichever way you mentioned, whether physical, verbal, financial, all of those, what would you recommend them?
I think it's really important, whatever age you are and whatever culture create domestic violence happen in every section of the community, regardless of, you know, color, gender,
Yeah,
religion, community. Yeah. It's really important to understand that you are first.
yes,
You are a person, you are a human being, and you
right,
deserve best, and you only have one life. So
yes,
give yourself the chance.
yeah,
Self love and self care. Self love is not selfish.
yes.
I
And we
mean, you
think that
take
as
it.
women. We do,
Self
don't
love
we?
is, yeah, taking care. Women, when you grow up, we've been told like your husband, your children, your in-laws, they come first, you are last. And as a mother, you become looking after your kids. But remember, if you don't put your oxygen mask, if you can't breathe,
Yeah, yeah,
how are you going to help people around you, your loved one? You have to breathe
exactly,
first. So
exactly.
put your mask first, look after yourself. So
Right,
self-care, self-love is the most important thing.
right.
Yeah.
And there are 50 shades, because women often, when they hear that, they think, oh, well, yes, sure, I'd love to spend my day at the spa and having my nails done and my hair done and at the gym or whatsoever. But there are 50 shades in the middle, right? It doesn't mean that you then go completely the other way and ignore everybody and don't feed your kids because you're busy reading a book you love,
Yeah, yeah.
though I have done that once. But anyway, they loved it. I think it was actually the Harry Potter season. I remember my kids saying, oh, Mummy, we're hungry. I said, it's okay, you can just go and get some biscuits in the kitchen. They loved it. They were like, when are you going to read the next one? But anyway, that's that. We're joking here, but I mean, there are very many ways where we can carve away 10 minutes. And it's just, I remember when I started coaching, I used to call it the body lotion test, and some women would come to me totally overwhelmed, etc. And I would sort of say, do you put body lotion on after the shower? And they'd be like, well, that's a strange question, Julie. And it was just the fact that it's a simple thing, which takes 2 minutes, right? But it means that you are devoting a little bit of your time to yourself and making yourself feel good. And people who feel good do good things, right? When we're miserable and depleted and exhausted, we don't shine and we can't change the world. Right. So, okay. So first tip, self-care, self-love. What's your second tip?
Okay. I think second tip is really important to look at your why, your big
Right.
why, your vision. Really, as a person, what do you want to achieve in life? Because a lot of time you are too busy chasing around everybody else's dream. What about your dream?
Yes.
What do you want to achieve? And dream does not stop as a child. Dream doesn't stop as a
No.
70s. I have a friend who break through at 70s. She
Yes.
created her whole new world after turning 70. She now
Yes.
is a freelancer. She help other women.
Yes.
So you can start at any time. Age,
Exactly.
age does not matter.
No, and in particular at this age, I would say at 50, so things around us have maybe quietened down a bit. And now is the time that we do have more space to actually say, okay, what am I here for? What is my legacy? What is my purpose? What brings me joy? What can I give back? Which is something that I very much like about this age group, is that we get our satisfaction, our feeling of purpose and fulfillment often through giving back,
Absolutely,
being of
absolutely.
service to others, etc.
Yeah.
But we can't do that if we're gasping on the floor because somebody else has, sucked out all our life energy.
Absolutely, Julie. You said a very important word is we can't give back. If we are, it's like if your glass is half full, how are you going to pour? You have to drink to pour it. So your glass always have to be full in order to pour it to others.
True,
So,
true.
50s, that's the best life ever because
Yeah.
you work, a lot of people I've seen. I mean, I've changed my career at my early 40s, really.
Yes.
Because I walked out of my job because I had enough of it. My second job, even I faced bullying, but I walked out of it. So you can create the whole new environment, new things, even your 50s, your 60s.
Yes.
Age
If you
doesn't
have
matter.
self-confidence, right?
As,
And it all brings
but
back to what you coach, right?
talking about self-confidence, get some help because
Yeah.
sometimes what I've
Yeah.
seen is people, they keep in everything inside them but don't get help.
I
Also,
guess they're
sometimes
embarrassed as well. Do the women who come to you, are they ashamed?
lots of people embarrassed but scared as well.
Yes, no,
People are
scared,
scared.
definitely. Yeah.
Julie, you mentioned one thing that people scared about body image, scared
Yeah.
about age. Oh, what I'm going to do now? I don't look nice. My body shape is not right. I can't attract another man, or I can't. People are not going to listen to me because I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
Looks doesn't matter. Inside
No.
is inside
No.
you. And I always say, polish inside yourself first. Bring your diamond out, and that's something I
Yes.
wrote in my book. Bring the diamond out. All you need, polishing the diamond so
Yeah.
people can see your diamond, what you got to offer, and be confident. If get some help because
Yeah.
sometimes you can do your own, but get help from people who 2 step ahead of you.
Yes,
Huh?
exactly.
Because if you talk to somebody who are negative, you're going to be another negative person.
Exactly.
Jim Rohn always say, if you stay around with 5 negative people, you become the sixth. But if
That's
you
so
stay
true.
5 positive people, you become
Yeah.
the fifth positive
And
person.
indeed, as you said, get the help, because if we're lacking self-confidence and we're not our own best friend, then it is useful to have someone else, whether it's a coach or indeed a friend, it can be. I mean, coaches, I tend to say it's better because they're neutral and they're 100% for you. In friendship, you tend to go half-half. First I help you, then you help me. And a coach, you can really for once say, this is my problem, help me solve it. But that they can be your best friend until you learn to love yourself as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's really important to get some help.
And it's something you need to work on consistently, isn't it? Because I saw you mentioned that in
Yeah.
your
Yeah. So I
second
was going to
tip,
bring it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you identify your goals and your vision, get some help. But anything really is developing it, you need consistent habit.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
to do something every single day
Right.
that gonna help you to achieve your dream.
Right. Because you're changing
Yeah,
patterns, right? And
yeah.
patterns are
Is
very
whether
ingrained.
you do. I mean, one of the things I teach Julie is visualization. Yeah.
Right.
Part of my 7 step is self-care, impact. We talked about giving back. Visualization is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
If you want to be something or if you want to do something, if you visualize every single day, whether in the night before you go to sleep, it goes into your subconscious mind.
Yes.
They become your habit. If you wake up in the morning, if you set your intention, how your day going to be, even if you have challenges, you already got the intention, no matter what happened, your day goes best.
Yes.
Even all that, because your mind is already equipped
Yes.
to deal with it. So that's why it's really important to do something every single day consistently.
Right. To
So
create that new belief in yourself. Right.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
your third tip?
Yeah. So third tip is you have only one life.
Yes.
So do not let anybody steal your dream.
Oh,
Get
that's
the
beautiful.
help.
Yeah.
Get help. Get help. Don't sit alone. Whether you're currently facing domestic violence or you just don't have the confidence because you've been through a lot, or you look different now because you've grown older and you don't have the confidence. Whatever the issue is, get help from somebody who's done it before.
Yes.
Because they can help you, to get where you want to get, and you deserve the best.
Yes.
Always put you deserve the best. You are enough. You are
Yeah.
courageous. You are a strong woman. You are beautiful and you are bold.
Exactly. And you've been put here for a reason. So own it and do what you need to do. Now, Parul, we've approached the end of the program, and this has been really very powerful. And I thank you deeply for having made time for us here today. I do want to mention a little bit how people can get hold of you should they choose to go for help with you. For example, having heard you today and heard all your wisdom and expertise. So you coach, right? You coach this self-confidence.
Yeah, so I've coached on self-confidence. I have an academy which called Boost Your Confidence Academy.
Right.
And they can find me in LinkedIn called Boost Your Confidence Academy. In my Instagram is Life and Leadership Coach _. And they can find me on my Facebook, which is Arzaf, Life and Leadership. And also my website called arzafcoaching.co.uk.
I'll make sure all the details are clearly in the show notes. And you coach also online because, of course, my audience is all over the world.
Absolutely.
Yes,
all my coaching outside of my locality is online.
And how wonderful you've got this all into a formula, right? A 7-step formula, visible. And that's very much in line with me because my motto is you deserve to be heard. But as you say, you deserve to be seen as well. And of course, I forgot to mention that you're an author because I actually edited your book, didn't I?
Absolutely, Julie.
Exactly. So just mention the title of the book.
Yeah. So that was my first book that went to public, Strong and Free Volume 2, which I called, no, the one Julie, I've written 3 books. The one you actually edited is Boost Your Confidence in 7 Days. And that's my own book.
It's fantastic. It was a privilege to edit it.
All 7-step formula, how you can boost your confidence. And what I teach is the formula from the book, but I take it next level.
Yes.
When I work with people as a group or as one-to-one, I do both. Group for my academy, I also do one-to-one coaching. I use the 7-step formula because I know it worked. So it's not about me, Julie. It's all about the methods.
Right.
I know the method worked, and that's why I've created the methods. And thank you for editing the book. Is coming to light, it's coming up. But I've also co-authored another book, which is a best-selling author, is called Strong and Free Volume 2, where I talked about how women broke societal barriers, break the expectation of societal barrier, and became who they are, who they wanted to be.
Okay,
and that's a best-selling book. They have become Amazon best-selling author, and I'm hoping that this Boost Your Confidence in 7 Days also become a best-selling book as well.
I'm sure it will have it. Yes, it's absolutely excellent. Parul, thank you very, very much for being with us today. Good luck with your extremely worthwhile mission. Hopefully there'll be more people like that out there fighting the cause, because as you say, we have one life. Enjoy it, polish your diamond. I like that you give some fantastic steps and tips that we could use here, and about our why and about, in particular, confidence. So thank you very much. You're welcome back anytime. For the rest of you out there, believe in yourself, trust that you should be able to shine in all your beauty and brilliance and get the help that you need. Speak to you again this time next week.
Thank you very much, Julie.